What's up, everybody? We're going to go ahead and do our sound check. How's everybody tonight? We're going to get started a little bit earlier than the timer. Just getting everything lined up. How is everyone tonight? Hope you guys are having a great night. Welcome to the Cardboard Castle, where we talk about difficult things and have a conversation. We can definitely talk about what it means for abortion. By the way, guys, check out our Discord. It's in the description, or hit !Discord in the bottle. Put it in the chat. We're gonna have a chill night because I'm having a rough fucking day. So, sit back, relax, and let's get going. All right. So, just getting everything set up here briefly. We're going to bring up the just chatting, and we're going to go ahead and add 5 minutes. We'll transition over, and we'll go ahead and get this party started. Hope everyone's having a good night tonight. We're going to be like NPR, National Public Radio. All right, so here we go. Beautiful, sexy time. Oh, yeah. You need to pull up the right. Boom. How is everyone tonight? What's going on, guys? I'm having a rough night. Let me get it in the chat if anyone's here. We're going to give it just a little bit for viewers to arrive. Oh, there goes Northern. Not much, man. We're doing the damn thing. So, yeah. I'm going to try to keep it chill tonight. You know, I'm having a rough day anyways. So, I want to sort of have a more relaxed conversation. We are going to talk about some serious subjects, but we're going to get it on and popping. So, anyways, have the SCOTUS opinion up. We're gonna talk about that and what it means for normal people. What's up, Lizzie? Welcome. Good to see you. Jay the Giant Peach, making it happen. Welcome, welcome. Make sure you guys join that Discord if you're not there before. Welcome, Lizzie. I'm not sure I've seen you before. Good to see you here. Welcome to the Cardboard Castle. Maybe I've seen you before and I just don't remember, and I apologize for that. All right, guys. Well, we're going to get into it. Tonight, we're talking about the decision in Roe v. Wade. Yeah, today has been crazy, right? Northern? Absolutely, my dude. We are going to talk about how that affects normal people. And the answer is it doesn't immediately do any of that. All right. So, guys, we'll go ahead and transition over and let's start the conversation. Hold on. We need to come over a little bit there. And bring it on. All right. Gotta get the screen right, man. It has been insane. I'm on Discord, but usually quiet. Hey, it's fine. It's all good. Don't be shy. All right, guys. So I just want to talk to you really quickly, and we're gonna talk about this. But the thing is, guys, is that this opinion is 213 pages long. Okay, so we're gonna do some summarization here because we're not going through 213 pages, but we're gonna get you the key points here, and we're gonna talk about what it actually means, how it actually is structured, We had this conversation previously. I'll put a card, if you're watching this after the fact, there'll be a card up in the top right-hand corner eventually, where we'll link to our conversation we had with Matt, where we removed emotions and talked about what it would actually mean for Roe v. Wade to be overturned, and the legal concepts of stare decisis and the foundational law that goes into place, and some of those things. Yeah, it's good to see you out of the shadows. So I think that we need to be rational in how we take things. We were absolutely fine with regulating guns and removing people's rights around firearms, but we weren't okay with removing what is a right that is not found anywhere in the Constitution. So the Constitution never mentions, directly, never mentions a right to abortion. And so when the courts are allowing for a right, that right usually has to have some inherent foundational interpretation from, a foundational concept of our actual Constitution, okay, or our nation. And the 14th Amendment, which is what Roe v. Wade was built on, and also the right to privacy, which is based around the Fourth Amendment, which is interpreted using the 14th Amendment to create a right for privacy, which some people say doesn't exist either, but is foundationally there and is foundationally a concept that is proven to be part of the fabric of our society and part of our nation. It's very interesting. So let's get into it. So here we have Roe v. Wade, and Thomas E. Dobbs, State Health Officer of Mississippi Department of Health at positional in Jackson Women's Health Organization. So this is basically the state of Mississippi versus Jackson, right? So that's what you'll hear it referred to. Oh, what's up, LJ? Welcome, welcome. Got them cool glasses on. So in the dissent originally, Jason Bryan White aptly put it in his dissent, the decision represented an exercise of radical judicial power. So really what it comes down to is that most of the extension of rights that come through the 14th Amendments are, yeah, absolutely, Northern. Women's rights, I'm totally down for them, right? But there's no right to abortion. Right. There's none found in the Constitution. And actually, 23 states, when the 14th Amendment was adopted, had outright basically said that abortion is outlawed and banned. It's evil. Right. Now, we're going to separate my Christian values away from this, and we're going to have an honest discussion about, is it a right? And is it a right given to you through the Constitution? I believe that there is no way to interpret the Constitution which allows for this right. All right? It is the murder of children. All right? And I think that it has been directed in a way that allows for the targeting of minorities. And I believe that initially the idea around abortion, as it was founded, and you can look at Planned Parenthood in its origination, and the founder of Planned Parenthood originally placed Planned Parenthoods and other abortion clinics that they funded in minority neighborhoods of low income. Yeah. It is possible, Northern. And I think that they do mention it directly in the, actually it's mentioned quite a few times. So hold on. We're gonna disprove that right now. So it's mentioned 669 times. Nice. I wonder if they did that on accident. Woot, woot, woot. So, yes, they did directly mention it many times here. So, you can see that it's mentioned 669 times. Dude, that's insane. Abortion is directly mentioned multiple times here and talked about multiple times here because this is directly about that. And yeah, hey Jay, thank you for listening, my man. Yeah, in the overturn. This is the overturn opinion here. Yes, 669 times. I can send you, I'll put a link in the chat. You can check it out yourself and just hit Control F and put the abortion in there, put the word abortion in there. So I don't know where you got that information from, but I promise you it's not true. There is the link. This is the overturn. Uh, so, the opinion of the court. So they talk about, it is well known that Iser reported that historians of ideas had cataloged more than 200 different senses in which the term had been used. And they were talking about the due process clause, the idea of liberty with a little L, liberty with a big L. We all declare liberty, but in using that name, that same word, we do not all mean the same thing. Right? So the idea that the court sort of founded this concept on was that we have this idea that liberty and of liberty and what freedom means and what rights are, right? But everybody, if you ask them what they mean, you'll a lot of times get a different answer, especially when it comes to liberty and freedom, okay, and what those things mean. And it happens to most of the time align to your political outlines, right? So, so when we're having a rational discussion, all right, about this, Roe v. Wade doesn't mean that abortion is going to be illegal. There will always be 4 states in which you can receive an abortion: Washington, California, Oregon, and New York. Those 4 states will never outlaw abortion. So no matter what, in the United States, you will always be able to receive an abortion somewhere. All right. So when we're having rational discussion, let's make sure that we stop this. They're outlawing abortion. No, they're not. The judiciary does not create laws. They determine if they're constitutional. Now let's talk about the problems with Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was considered an exceptional expansion by a very liberal court at the time. And even RGB herself said that Roe v. Wade was the wrong vehicle legally for the expansion of abortion rights, and that it wouldn't stand on its values. And she was kind of correct. Using the 14th Amendment to interpret a right that stated nowhere and was foundationally against what most of the United States believed at the time didn't really go with the precedents that was interpretive rights came from them. I'm glad nothing broke, but I'm sorry she's in so much pain. As I'm sorry, Tarkin, I hope she starts to feel better. Oh, what happened, Tarkin? Hold on, I'm sorry, I missed it. Apologize for not being here. I'm taking care of my mother. She didn't break any bones in her fall that night, but... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, how is your mom? And I'm glad that she didn't break anything. I'm glad that she's doing better. I'm glad that you're here, and don't feel obligated. I appreciate you, though. I appreciate all my regular followers. L, J, excuse me, Northern, Luna, all you guys. I appreciate every last one of you, and thank you so much for joining us. It really helps. And make sure you guys hit that like button to help us with the algorithm, get us some of that beautiful flow through. But yeah, I'm glad that you're here, Tarkin. So, anyways, it's been an interesting week. Sending love, absolutely. So, moving forward, when we talk about what things look like from a court's perspective, let me go through some of the key points. Hold on, I created an entire thing because this again 208. So I got through 119 pages, guys. I did not get all the way through the opinion. It's 218 pages. Okay, got through 119 of them, but I did make some some outlines, and so I'm going to bring that up really quickly, and we'll go from there. It's oh, oops, sorry, didn't mean to click that. That's I'm trying to get into my Google Cloud, and it's being stupid. All right. Right. Nope. Boom, 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 boom. You gonna open today? All right. Here we go. All right. So, so basically, Justice John Roberts suggested that the court should uphold Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban regulation without overruling Roe and Casey, right, which are the two main cases that deal with abortion rights in America. All right, and under the principle of stare decisis, the court usually follows its previous decisions. So, but the problem is that principle really only applies to holdings of the court, right? And Roberts himself sort of suggested that perhaps Roe and Casey's viability ruling was not a holding, right? And he reasoned that no regulation in those cases hinged on viability. The viability of a fetus is what they're talking about. So the viability rule could be a non-binding statement that does not state the law or dicta, right? Which is the Latin word for dictatorial or law, right? So what he was saying is basically Roe v. Wade and also Casey did not talk about viability directly. So them using a viability in the law would allow Mississippi's law to stand because it's not really violating those two rulings. It's a sort of squirming around of it, right? But the key is that whether the Chief Justice, whether Roberts' suggestion is correct, right, is crucial to the court's ultimate ruling in Dobbs. If he was right, the court could basically avoid deciding whether the Constitution guarantees a right to elective abortion. That's really what it comes down to, right? So basically, a bunch of guys got together and wrote an article surveying basically the American abortion jurisprudence, which is previous rulings in law, right? That's what jurisprudence means, okay? For basically the last 50 years, and decided that it contradicted Robert's suggestion, and they provided a brief as a friend of the court. And I'm not going to use all the Latin. If you guys want, we can go into the Latin later. Let's use common language, right? So, basically, he relied on the personal papers of a justice called Blackmun, right? Who wrote the opinion in Roe and suggested that the drafts contained some dicta, right? In Texas, it's 6 weeks, 15 weeks from conception or from missed period. So conception is hard to determine, but either way, if you don't know you're pregnant at 16 weeks, you might have a problem. But basically, the court's internal deliberations focused far more on the viability rule than any other issue in the case of Roe v. Wade, right? Is what it was found to be, and but holdings are kind of different. It's a weird legal term, right? So a holding must include a court's reasoning in addition to its conclusion, right? So it must be included in the opinion and a reasoning. And so some of the reasoning was around viability, and it's shown in those private papers. So the private papers are never included inside of a ruling. And so that was kind of his argument. But to say that the oral arguments that were given and the conclusion drawn didn't have anything to do with viability was sort of Justice Roberts is known as a middle of the road guy, so he was trying to avoid creating this constitutional issue or overturning a constitutional right to abortion. It's insane. I don't know about that, Northern. In my experience, you usually still have a period. Women still have a period, excuse me. While they're on birth control, most of them, right? NuvaRing or the pill, other things like that. I think that the shot sometimes interrupts that, I think. But most women still on birth control have periods. And there are three common types, the most common types. So the most common types, I think he means 3 months between periods, Jay. I don't think any woman would ever want a 3-month period. Man, I understand that, but there's three main types of contraception that are used in America, in the United States. Okay, there's the IUD, okay, which is we're not going to get into medical terminology because I'm not a doctor and I don't want to do it. But basically, it's this device implanted in the cervix. There is the birth control pill, okay, which even allots for a period and has pills that go around it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm aware, LJ. It's actually a horrible medical issue to have. And I'm sorry for any woman who has to have a period that's 2 months long. That would fucking suck. I can just imagine. That's fucking be horrible. And then, of course, we have the depot shot, which is the other most common form of birth control. Well, most birth controls don't work on 3 month. They have it allotted every month for you to have at least a short period. So I don't think that that's really a valid concern. I don't want to dig too deep because I believe that talking, how do I put this in a way that's meaningful? So I believe that you can have opinions on things and it still be viable even if you don't share the gender of the person who it affects, because I believe that some things have to affect the society. But as far as women and their periods, I know the basic facts that I know, and I know that this is uncomfortable for some people. Holy Jesus, how did I go to 0 viewers? What? Did I lose everyone? Did we stop broadcasting? That's weird. Okay, I don't give a shit. Whatever, their numbers are off. But the thing is man, you got to understand that, it's different for every woman. They're very complex, but I'm talking about the standard cases, not the exceptions, right? Yeah, it's showing 0 concurrent viewers and 0 chat rate. I know, I don't know. It's fine. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about what it means, you know, it even in Roe v. Wade, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dissented. Most people don't know that. So basically, after Roe, the court immediately applied both the viability rule and the first trimester line in the applicable maternal health regulations on the day Roe was decided. Okay, so it was sort of dishonest of Roberts. He was trying to find a way out of making a difficult ruling. And yeah, welcome, Jenny J. Good to see you. I don't think they're legislating that women give birth. I don't think that's being legislated. Well, we're required to financially support children, right? Men go to jail if they don't provide financial support. You should definitely check out Discord because I'm dealing with that shit right now. I provide $450 a month to one of my children's mothers, and I provide anywhere between $450 to over $1,000 of support for another child. And I'm still being taken to court for child support and being used as a paycheck. Men are required to provide, but women get to choose whether or not they want to deal with the consequence, but men don't get any choice in that. I think it's one of the unfair situations. Now, I believe men should provide for their children, but I believe that there is a really easy, simple solution to, and me and North have gotten into it. He actually got really upset when I brought this up. But if you don't want a baby, don't fuck. I don't mean to be expletive or rude, but at the end of the day, men are obligated to take care of their children. So again, I don't think that's a viable argument. I think that's a red herring, right? We can say that abortion is wrong and deal with the other aspects, but this is specifically about abortion. Men don't get choices. Men don't get a chance to choose. Women get a chance to say, oh, I just don't want to have this child, and they get to terminate your kid. You could have gotten, example, Colorado, you can have an abortion all the way up until the day of birth. Is that cool? Is that okay? Is that all right? No, it doesn't matter. Even if you're not financially able, you can still be obligated to child support, and if you don't pay it, you go to jail. Trust me, I am very aware of this. For anybody who doesn't know, I've been facing a capital murder charge for the last 5 years, and it's very difficult when people run your background check and they see the word murder. Okay? Let's talk about the first term. Child has a heartbeat. Do you have two hearts? People say, "Oh, it's a fetus. It's not an independent thing. It's not a living being." Well, at that point, it has a nervous system, has a brain, right? I don't even know what it looks like to Tobias. I think it's fucking insane, but it exists, and there's actually been 2 documented cases in the last year of it, where they terminated a child at 8 months pregnancy, fully formed child. I think it's sort of insane also that as a father, you can go, you can see the ultrasounds, you can find out that this is your son or daughter, you can observe their sex. It's not even, you're not inflicting their sex. You're observing it, right? It's an observation. You can see your child, you can see your heartbeat, and then you could get into a fight with the child's mother, and all of a sudden she just decides to kill your kid, and you have no opinion in that. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with abortion in cases of incest and rape. They make up less than 1% of all abortions, right? The thing I'm focused on is that, is there a legal, constitutional right to abortion from a federal perspective? And I don't think it exists. It doesn't matter. You chose to enter into a social contract by having sex. Would you say that most people understand that sex could create children? And so why do you get to escape that consequence, but a man doesn't? Men don't get a say. I have to support the child no matter what. You want to say, oh, well, if a man doesn't want a child, but you do, and you decide to carry it and not abort it, that he can get out of child support for the rest of his life? Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. But that's wrong, right? It's considered morally obscene, right? That's untrue. Northern, again, it is not legal to kill someone because you feel uncomfortable. There are no 35 states that allow you to kill someone because it is the same thing. It is. It doesn't matter because they're a nuisance. You get to kill them because you don't want to have a child. Okay, you have to carry it. Well, you shouldn't have had sex. Unfortunately, women, it falls to them to have to carry the fetus, to carry the baby. We didn't create biology. Yeah, show me where you can kill someone because you feel uncomfortable in 35 states. That's some bullshit. I know for a fact that's some bullshit. I looked at it. There was a case that was brought out where someone felt uncomfortable when they were let off, and then it was challenged, and they were able to go back. But yeah, no, it's not an actual defense. It's a methodology that lawyers try to use, and it's abhorrent, and it's actually been banned in some states. You can't approach that, and there's instructions for the jury saying they can't. There's no such thing. It is. That's basically what's being said. That because I'm not ready, because I don't want to have this child, because it's a nuisance for me to have to carry it, I'm not going to do it. It's no longer. Women aren't hurt. You know what the mortality rate or even the injury rate in pregnancy is for women? Well, again, if it is their child. So I'll give you an example. Me and a girl decided that we were madly in love, and we decided we wanted to have a kid. And when having this child, she got pregnant, right? And we purposely decided to have a child, right? And so you think that no women get an abortion because it's a nuisance? Or because they just don't want to deal with the responsibility? Oh, all the time. Okay. Well, I can tell you that the way it's being framed today is very similar to that. So the thing is that if men have a say in it, sure. But hold on. So We decided to have a child. We got pregnant. About a month into that pregnancy, she got upset with me and decided that she didn't want to be part of the relationship anymore. But then we decided to have a child together. And she just decided on her own that she was going to kill my kid. Now I was able to talk her out of it. Okay? And I have a beautiful son who's in Kansas, and we'll talk about that later. I read. But at the same time, right, she just got to decide whether or not I had to literally beg her not to kill my child. How's that fair? How's that okay? You think that doesn't traumatize men? And what type of piece of shit dude? You think men aren't using that? The type of men who would support abortion are the type who aren't trying to get out of some shit? Who don't want to take responsibility? Are those really the men you want to be having kids with? But at the end of the day, the point is, and let's again remove politics and emotion from it, it's about both. It doesn't matter. You chose to have sex. That was a choice. You know what can come from sex. That doesn't give you a right to kill a viable life. To kill a life. Potential life is potential life. You're killing it. But it's not even that. I don't care about that. It's to the states. If you don't like your state's stance on it, you can move to a different state. And as I said, there will always be 4 states that you can have an abortion in. Washington, Oregon, California, and New York. Those 4 states will never, and Maryland, we'll go with Maryland too, will never ban abortion. You want an abortion or you believe in the right to abortion? Take your tax dollars and go to a different state. Did I say that? See, how about this? If we agree that abortions, and I addressed this earlier, that rape and incest abortions, which make up less than 1% of all abortions, if we say that those are allowed, we're not going to, can we legislate the rest? I forget that Maryland's a state sometimes too northern. Trust me, it's okay. Okay, so let's do that. So that's a straw man that many people like to bring up. So let's say that we allow for abortions for rape and incest. Can we ban the rest? Yeah, that's fine. I want you to participate in this conversation. You're welcome to join voice chat and participate live. I want you to ask questions. I want to have a conversation. I want people to challenge me and to I bring a point of view and I want other people to challenge it. That's the whole point of this entire podcast. It would be boring as fuck if I just got up here and preached my beliefs. So, you know. It would be really boring. My opinion is not the only one that matters. My opinion is my opinion, and I believe everyone has a right to their opinion and to vote for the legislative individuals that represent their opinions. So, okay, and that's fine. If you have agreement of both parents, right? Sure. But it doesn't matter if you wanted a kid. If you didn't want a kid, you shouldn't have fucked. Exactly, Jay. Absolutely. I agree with that. It doesn't matter. It's not a woman's body you're killing or destroying. It has a entirely separate DNA structure. And it's not all on the women. I think that's very selfish to say that men shouldn't have a say in what happens with their child. I think that's exceptionally sexist and selfish. Oh, because I have to carry it, you don't get a choice in what I do with your child. Why is that okay? You know? I think that this is a very nuanced thing, and that's why I think it should be left to the states. That way you can go to the state that aligns to your point of view. And I believe that this is the right decision. Not in banning abortion. No one wants to ban abortion. I'm not saying ban abortion. I'm not going to support abortion. But I don't give a fuck what you do with your life. Okay? I'm a classical liberal. I'm a classical liberal. Okay? So people, yeah. Again, but also we have to talk about, when are you held accountable for your decisions? Men are held accountable for their decisions, whether they want to be or not, but women just get to escape it when they just don't feel like it. I think that that's a double standard. I also think it's a double standard that you get to terminate someone else's child. No, like, individual states now get to decide whether they want to support abortion, how they support abortion, what abortion is allowed, what abortion is not allowed, which gives more freedom of choice. Yeah. I believe that this is the right thing. Giving it back to the states allows people to align their views to the state they live in. If it's that much of a make or break deal for them, then if you're in a state that supports abortion up and until the time of birth, which there are 5 that I'm aware of, at least 5: Colorado, California, Oregon, Washington, and New York. All 5, you can literally terminate the child the day before they're born. What I'm saying is I believe leaving it up to the states is the appropriate thing, because you can move to this state that aligns to your views the best. I believe that's fucked too. Yeah. But again, you get into the viability argument, and viability moves as technology gets better. What is a life? And I believe that those conversations and those things are so nuanced that it is better to not have a federal standard and to leave it up to the individual states. That's all I'm saying. And if it's that much of a make or break deal for you, then you can move to the state that matches your opinion, and you can vote with your tax dollars. It should be up to discussion. It's not a right. You don't have a right to abortion. That's the thing. It's not in our Constitution. I believe that each state should be allowed to represent its constituencies' opinions, and if you don't like it and it's that much of a make or break for you, then move to a state that matches to your opinion. Vote with your tax dollars. And so we can have a fundamental disagreement there. If they want it to be a right, there is a process for that called the Convention of States, where we can make it a fundamental right. And if that is the way the society wants to go, then they can do that, and there is a process for that. But judicial activism is not the appropriate place to determine a right that is not ingrained or enshrined and does not match with foundational fabrics of the original creation of the United States. And that has been upheld through multiple court rulings. I don't need it to be all-knowing. That's why it's amendable. And that's fine. And that's the great thing. We can disagree and still get along. We can have this conversation on a very touchy subject. You don't have 2 hearts. You don't have 2 brains. You don't have 2 nervous systems. You don't have 4 arms. You don't have 4 legs. That is an independent living being. It's not a sad day for women. It's not being banned. No one banned abortion. No one banned abortion. There is a state. Every state touches another state where you can go get an abortion, no matter what. Missouri is the only state that has banned abortion so far. And that was because this is literally the case that was holding them up from doing it. Okay? I don't need to be a woman to be able to have opinions and matter of fact. That's sexist. Oh, because of the nature of my genitalia or the color of my skin, I'm not allowed to have an opinion? That's sexist, isn't it? I don't need to be a woman. I don't need to be a woman to have an opinion on something that affects the fabric of our society. Okay, well, I don't believe that, and there's many women who don't believe that. Be mad. Again, we can have a civil conversation. A patriarchal majority of a small sampling of the U.S. population. Actually, when you talk to women, it's so diverse in their opinions, but a majority of them support limitations on abortion. 64% of all women actually support limitations on abortion, if not outright banning. Are those women not women because they disagree with you? Or is it something we should leave to the states since it's so nuanced and it depends on where you're from and who you're talking to? Well, I'm talking to you. You want to engage, and you're making superlative comments, somehow interjecting that this is a sad day for women. What about women who agree with it? Is it a sad day for them? Are all women monolithic? Do they all have the same opinions? Women are not monolithic. And again, abortion is not being banned. I don't understand where we're having this conversation from. Abortion is not being banned. There are always going to be 5 states that you can have an abortion in. There are 5 states that will never ban it, and you cannot be punished for going to another state and getting an abortion. Monolithic means one singular entity, treating women as just one entity that all believe and think the same thing. Treating all women as, treating all black people as monolithic. But C-sections are more dangerous than just taking it to term. Okay. Well, I can appreciate that you find it sad, but again, it's up to the states. No one is banning abortion. We're just saying it is not a constitutional right. That's the only thing that's been decided here. And yet people are super emotional over it. Period. Mm-hmm. Lizzie, when you start actually getting into, well, would you support abortion up into the day of birth? It starts changing. And that's where you get into a majority of America supports regulation and limitations of abortion. Because what's being proposed right now is literally in many Democratic states. Yeah, abortion is exceptionally dangerous too. You know the side effects that can happen from abortion? But again, leaving it up to the states allows for people to have their views represented in how they see what they want the fabric of their society to be made up of. No, because you can travel to another state easily and get an abortion. If you can't afford the $120 bus ticket to go get a free abortion from Planned Parenthood in another state, then you probably shouldn't have been fucking. Mm-hmm. And the chances of you having complications in birth that lead to death are so significantly rare in modern medicine today, especially in America, that it pales in comparison. That's not an argument for abortion. If you didn't want to be endangered, again, there's a really simple way not to have to abort a child. And again, I'm not arguing for the banning of abortion. Again, agreed. But men are held accountable. Lizzie, if you want to call men a sperm donor, let's keep this conversation civil. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do. And you're being superlative, and I'm trying to be nice. Again, I'm sorry that happened to you. But again, I'm not arguing for the banning of... I'm saying let's remove our emotions. Let's remove what we're thinking. No one is banning abortion. This leaves it up to the states. They're just saying it is not a constitutional right, and that is true. Other states can make it a constitutional right in their individual constitutions. They can make laws around it as they see fit. They can allow it up until the day of birth, like Colorado, like Oregon, like Washington, like California, and like New York do. You can literally abort your child the day before it is born. The day it is, like literally you could be in birth and you can abort your child. No, I'm not moving on. It's my show. You're not going to say something superlative and then not have me respond to it. No one is saying that you chose to be raped. That is a edge case. I'm talking about a majorative. And I already said that I'm in the cases of rape and incest, I'm totally fine with it. So you're arguing a point that no one is making and inferring that I'm somehow siding with people who get raped. But rape and incest is less than 1% of all abortions. Okay, sure. Inflammatory. An exaggerated or hyperbolic expression is what it means. But it's what's allowed. You can literally abort a child the day before it's born. The day it is being born. You could be in labor and abort a kid. In Colorado, Washington, Oregon, California, and New York. No, I don't believe it's included. I know, I'm not arguing against it being a constitutional right. I'm saying it's not included in the current Constitution, and we have a process for that. That's called amending the Constitution. And there are two different ways to amend the Constitution. I do. I did. I raised my daughter by myself for 7 years until my situation happened. And then my child was taken from me, and I was not able to defend myself, even though I had maintained custody. My son, I provided a majority of time for, and I took care of everything. And the only reason she has full custody is because of blackmail. So again, you're assuming that men somehow don't step up to the plate when they're allowed to. Yeah, and I said, yeah, I made that very clear. I said, but removing my personal opinion of being against abortion, right? My opinion doesn't matter. My opinion is my personal opinion, but I also don't believe I'm enforcing my personal beliefs on other people. I believe that it's currently not a constitutional right. There is no constitutional right to it, and if we want to make it one, we need to amend the Constitution. And I think that this is better because it allows people to move to the states. If it's that much of a key issue for you, it allows people to move to the states that match with their personal belief systems. And it also allows for there to be no place in which a woman cannot get an abortion. And I believe that that is key, that there should always be somewhere where a person can go that matches their belief system, but also allows them to get the services that they ask for or they want or they require, whether I disagree with them or not. I don't believe that. Men sacrifice greatly for having a child. No, they're sort of being attacking Jay, but it's fine. It's a sensitive subject, and not everybody can have conversations like that. It's fine. Men sacrifice constantly. You don't think there's men who haven't sacrificed their lives, their careers, haven't changed things because a child came forward? Amazon does it. Amazon actually offers up to $4,000 for you to go get an abortion. You want to see it? Yeah. So you don't think this is an attacking statement where it says, okay, so some of the ways it's being phrased are very aggressive. We'll use that. Yeah, and I'm fine with that. And I think that if you want to, you should be able to travel to a state that allows that. That's totally up to you. But allowing the states to represent, there are people who don't agree with you. There are people who believe that the idea of killing a baby is an abomination. And to say that their views should never be represented in the laws or in any state, that their opinions, their ideals, that the way they feel should never be represented, right? Takes away from them as human beings. And therefore, if they are a majority of the state and they want to put that regulation in place, then they can. Oh, I know. That's why I'm trying to be reasonable. And I get it. But again, to say that those people should not be able to have an opinion or have representation of their ideals in the state in which they live if they are the majority is undemocratic, unrepublican. Doesn't matter. Why? Because she was being an asshole. I'm trying to have a responsible discussion. No, I'm not getting emotional. I'm being rather rational. I like LJ. She's probably one of my favorite people in the world, but sometimes she becomes a dick. And she was being exceptionally patronizing in her comments, and I said, hey, let's have a friendly conversation. Yes, LJ, you were being patronizing. Yes, absolutely, you were being patronizing. No. Said she's one of my favorite people. But I won't be patronized right now. We're trying to have a reasonable discussion, and I don't need it being inflamed. It's a highly emotional subject for multiple people. The thing is that to say that people who have an opposing opinion you should not have any representation, I think is overly. It's literally, oh, my opinion should matter and only my opinion because I feel it's the right thing, but other people shouldn't be represented who disagree with me. I think that is selfish and honestly quite abhorrent. If you are the majority and you are able to elect a majority, then yeah, your state should represent the view of its people. And you can say that, but she can do that, and I agree she should be able to have the opinion she wants, but it's also, you're not going to be inflammatory. But that's your belief, Tobias. There are people who believe that abortion is abhorrent. You actually come from a country that has a majority Catholic audience, right? A majority of Germans and Austrians are Catholic, if they are any denomination. And Jay, we can have a we can have a discussion about rough subjects and our personal experiences, without being rude to each other or patronizing. And yeah, I'm aware, Tobias. We've discussed this, but I've lived in Germany. I know. I mean, that's the reason why the noise regulations exist on Sundays, right? We've talked about this. We can be respectful of one another's beliefs, and we can have local representation that represents the beliefs of the majority of the people who are in those areas. And if you disagree with them, then move. Go somewhere else. You're welcome to. Yeah, so I'm in the streaming voice chats. And no, there's not a separate Discord for the stream. It's literally like there's the main hall. Everything's there. There used to be one. I have to finish setting up all the Discord channels, but yes, there's just going to be a stream part where we can talk directly about what's on stream. But usually we do it in the chat that's part of the voice channel. Yep. Well, currently the lowest is 21 weeks. Okay. Well, if I'm a majority and I feel that it's abhorrent and I want my laws to represent that, then that's their right. Do I agree that people should be able to do whatever the hell they want? Yeah, that's my personal belief. Again, I am what's known as a classical liberal. I'm allowed to live my life and enforce my beliefs however I want on myself. And I get it. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, Lizzie, I also believe that people have a right to determine whether or not they want to live that way too. Excuse me momentarily. Hello? Mm-hmm. Yes?
I was wrong. I'm frustrated because you don't see it, and I just got frustrated.
Nicole, you told me that I couldn't see my child because I asked you if you wanted to still get...
Apology, bye.
Nicole. Okay. Case in point. Case in point. So, guys, at the end of the day, it is a very sensitive subject. And no, I'm saying... No, you're not in timeout. It says you're invalid. Maybe it's just... Hold on, let's try this one. There you go, Lizzie. Sorry. That one should work. Let me know if that one doesn't work and I'll update it. Oh, here, I'll drag you in. If you go into the waiting room, I'll drag you into it. I had some people come in and start spamming. If you go into the waiting room, it shouldn't be locked. So, there we go. Hello, Lizzie. Let's see if I can hear you. What I'm saying is that, so I personally believe that I shouldn't force my beliefs on other people. But I also believe people shouldn't be able to force their beliefs on me. And it's going to be. Eventually we'll make it there. The concealed carry laws are struck down, and I plan on talking about that at some point, but this got a little deeper than I expected. So, here we go. We'll drag everybody in. Here we go. Oh, I drugged Tobias in, and he left. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, can you guys talk?
Yes.
There we go. Okay. The thing I'm saying is that for allowing people to be represented in their laws, their state's laws, I think is exceptionally important. And that goes into the Second Amendment thing that we'll talk here about in a moment. I think that we have to say that we can't force other people's issues. We can't force other people to come around to our point of view. But if people want to have their point of view, yep, we're getting there. But I think that this conversation is intricate. And so I'm trying to say, like, hey, no one is banning abortion.
It's untrue. The states may be banning
Guys,
abortion.
I didn't realize that this would drag on into this. Usually we can have conversations about very sensitive subjects, and my community has done exceptionally well in not falling into the antagonal cycle that happens. I said beliefs, not rights. But again, this is all that the Constitution does not provide for their right. There is a process to amending the Constitution, period. And we can do that. Or we can, states can apply their own constitutions to that thing, right? You can make it where it's a constitutional right in a state constitution. And states aren't that far apart. Right now, North Carolina, for example, you can get an abortion at 12 weeks. 16 weeks. Actually, 22 weeks. I have to look it up. It's 22 or 21 weeks. And that's fine. I'm fine with most of disagreeing with. But I don't understand what there's to disagree when I'm saying it's not a constitutional right. I don't see how that's a disagreeable thing. Excuse me again. I apologize. Hello? So you apologized, and I didn't even get a chance to talk. So I'm frustrated. I think what you did was wrong, and I'm upset about it.
Like, unnecessary. I apologize. I said I was wrong.
Yeah, but you kept my child from me because I wouldn't give you monetary value. Nicole,
I understand that, but no, you not giving me money has nothing to do with.
well, that's what we were fighting over. We were fighting over money, and all of a sudden you decide, okay, you can. Am I going to be allowed to talk? I'm in the middle of something, and I'm stopping. I'm stopping what I'm doing to have a conversation with you. And we were arguing about money and about monetary value, even though I've been doing everything else. And so at the end of the day, it comes down to because I didn't agree with you on monetary issues, you decided to deny me the ability to see Kai. Okay. I will.
Fine. But no, that has.
So now you're going to be derogatory to me. I will.
I've just come to accept it that I can't show you my point of view. I'm telling you that that's not the case at all. I'm explaining to you that I was frustrated with other things that I tried to explain but don't click for you, and that is what caused it. I got frustrated that it didn't click.
Okay.
That it has nothing to do with money.
All right. So, all right. So what are we doing, Nicole? I don't know.
For me and Kai. I don't know if you want to go out to eat or do something tomorrow or whatever you want to do.
Let me call you in like an hour, please. Okay. All right. Bye. All right. So here's the thing. If you believe it's a right, if it's a woman's right, if a majority of America believes that, then we can amend our Constitution. states allow for abortion. Most states allow for abortion. There's only one where abortion is banned. That is Missouri. They were the reason that this case came forward. This is about interpretation of the Constitution. Nothing else. We started getting into my personal opinions, and I said, I made clear where I stand at the beginning of this. Exactly. Your government doesn't give you rights. The Constitution in America gives you rights, and those things are inalienable. And if we want to make a right inalienable, we need to amend the Constitution, not use activist judges. It's very simple. Exactly. And we can do that. There's a process for that, but there's a reason that processes exist, and they're important. If we just throw out the rules because of every emotional or emotionally, what's the word I want to use? Tumultuous subject, I think that we lose the place where we are. I'm done already. I don't know. Maybe the chat's way behind. And because I needed it recorded. So she calls when she doesn't want things in text messages. So that way, whenever she admits to doing something wrong or something bad happened. So I just took it. And I'll cut it out of the main video later, but I needed it recorded, and I don't have my recorder with me. So I apologize. Anyways, so at the end of the day, it's simple. Very simple. It's just not a constitutional right. Leave it up to the states. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate everyone's thing, and I was trying it in it, but yeah, it's everyone's entitled to their opinions. They're allowed to be what they want to be, and they're allowed to talk about it. Well, we can do it in a reasonable and respectful way, without being vicious to each other. I'll delete that too, L. I apologize for using those terms, but you sort of were jabbing at me, and you got to admit that you were kind of going at me, and I was trying to be nice, and it bothers me when I'm trying to be respectful of other people and be respectful of their opinion. That I can't argue with that, but we did rectify that. The Constitution was also made when people were slaves, and we rectified that too. No, I said she was jabbing at me. I didn't say she was being those things. Yeah, it's all good. There's all of 10 people here. At the end of the day, we have to be able to have conversations like adults. If we can't do that, then we are doomed. We are doomed as a people, as a species. Right? So, let's see. So I know Tobias joined in here. What's going on, man? Are you purposely being quiet?
Yeah. No, I'm just here to not have the delay.
Ah, got you. But again, it goes into things like the Second Amendment. That's fine. You think I wasn't trying to see your point of view? I was. It's just I disagreed with it, and then we went to making jabbing comments, and we have to be careful of that. But it's fine. I appreciate you either way, and I still love you. Because you have intrinsic value to me as a human being, whether we agree or disagree. It's that simple. L. I believe that people should be able to have their opinions represented in their local government and their laws. I think that there's things that are used to protect minorities, and that those things are now ingrained in our Constitution. I believe that everybody is entitled to their opinions. Right? It's just that simple. Like the Second Amendment stuff, the overturning of these concealed carry laws. New York, and basically now, as soon as issues come up, California, New York, Washington, New Jersey, basically most of their laws are about to get challenged, and the inability to carry firearms in New York City is going away. So, like, again, it's about rights. Now, there's restoration and there's removal, and who knows, another Supreme Court could find a different way. Or we can go and make a law and modify the Constitution, or create or codify Roe v. Wade, which is where it really belongs. Do I believe that people should have a right to abortion? I don't know about right. I think it should be codified that there should not be, no one should be forced to have a child. That's their personal belief. It goes against my religious beliefs, but that's my religious belief. So you guys really want to know where I stand. I think it's an abomination, but at the end of the day, I think it's your right to do as you please. I think there should be regulation and there should be rules around it. I believe that the appropriate place for Roe v. Wade was to be codified into federal law. I don't believe that the way the court did it, it was basically legislating from the bench. But saying that there's no constitutional right currently, I don't think is incorrect or in any way something that should be super upsetting. So, under the Second Amendment, you can have a howitzer. Absolutely. I believe, so I've made it very clear, I'm exceptionally extreme on this one. I believe you should be able to have up to and add a nuke. Do I actually want civilians having a nuke? No, but I believe if you take the most far right, the most far position, and then you have the other side go at it, yeah. Because I believe that what happens is that gun control advocates constantly argue for gun control, but there's never a deregulation period. No one's fighting to deregulate. It's always regular. So basically people say, let's have gun control. And someone says no. And they say, okay, well, meet us in the middle. And then we keep moving. So if you move to the middle every time, you eventually get to the point they want to be at anyways. And it never goes the opposite direction. We're never deregulating firearms. We're always adding more regulations. And we don't even, neither side funds the ATF correctly. Okay. And so we end up with this thing where we have so many laws that can't be enforced because the people who are supposed to be enforcing it don't have the funding to do so. Codify. So basically codify in relation to U.S. law is taking something and churning it into U.S. statutory code. So when you talk about a statute and the codes within the statute. So, for example, murder in North Carolina is Chapter 14 of the North Carolina Criminal Code. But there's subsection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way through 28, okay? So those are codifications of specifics. So you could have a law that says women's health and rights law, right? That then says part 1 is the first part of Roe v. Wade. Part 2 is the second part of Roe v. Wade. Part 3 is the third part of Roe v. Wade, right? That's not how that works. That's not what that was about. The Second Amendment is meant for you to be able to overthrow your government, period. Like, make no mistake, it's not about hunting. It's not about the right to bear and keep arms shall not be infringed. Now, people talk about the well-regulated militia, but they don't talk about the Second Amendment. So let's bring up Second Amendment in full. So there's more to this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, regulated had a different meaning in Old English. Regulated mean to be made regular, right? A regular, so replace that word, a well and regular militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Now, militia is just the people who bind together to say, fuck this shit, we're going gangster, okay? That's what a militia means. A militia is a non-regulated body that's meant to fight a war. It's people grabbing their guns, right? We're going to mob up. Go gangster. Okay, that's what that is. All right, so let's not be mistaken in what a well-regulated. A militia is not the National Guard. What's up, Herman? What's going on, homie? We got Lucas Stream here. What's good? Yes, you could lawfully have a private army. Absolutely. Should we allow that? No. Let's meet in the middle. I'll take the farthest point to this side. You take the farthest point to this side, and let's hash it out. Let's have a conversation. Oh, good. Glad, man. The Second Amendment says arms. Doesn't say gun. Yeah, arms. All types of arms. You can have a MiG if you want to have a MiG. You can have a nuke if you want to have a nuke. Now, again, I don't actually want civilians having nukes. But we have people who are all the way over here saying ban every possible firearm, period. No one should have them. I think someone has to be on the opposite side. And we can meet in the middle. We can compromise. We can have those conversations. But I feel right now it's just you have conservatives saying no, people saying gun rights, people who are for restricting gun rights and gun control saying let's do it all, let's get rid of it all. And the people who are saying no just keep meeting in the middle. So you keep going to one side. We can say that, but the foundational concepts that it was built on, I don't think have. I think that no matter what, power leads to tyranny, and tyrannical governments can only be overthrown by people who have guns. Also, the idea of invasion has always been the same. Yeah, Darwinism would definitely work if actual civilians were able to have nukes, okay? So again, my position is for a purpose of meeting in the middle. And I want to be... This should end in a bloodbath. I believe that there's also problems with, billionaires able to basically have private armies, which they do. They call them security, except they have Uzis and shit. Did you know that for example, one of the main people who are gun control advocates actually has his own private army? His name's Jeff Bezos, and his security company has a FFL-3. They carry automatic weapons, but he can afford it. So no defense for you, but I have an entire private security army that literally has bulletproof vests, up-armored vehicles, bulletproof SUVs, and automatic weapons. But you can't have them. I think so too. That hunter border is crazy. So arm the women to overthrow the... I believe everybody should be able to have a firearm. I've made this very clear. Oh, I didn't even think about that, Northern. He has drone rights, too. There's nothing stopping him from putting weapons on drones. They have the FFL-3. And they have the drones. Oh, my God. See, but I think that's kind of conspiratorial. But he could technically do it. That's fucking crazy. I never thought of that. Never thought of that. Holy shit. Jeff Bezos could literally create armed drones that have automatic weapons. Not saying he would, but holy shit. Goddamn. That's insanity. Insanity. Just thinking about that is insanity. But that's the thing. He's like one of the main proponents for gun control, but the people he has have guns that normal people can't even have. I know, right? I think this is somewhere where we can have some common ground. I know me and Tobias are on absolutely different sides of this conversation. Yo, it is weird he's buying up all his farmland and basically not using it, and we have a food shortage. I think that's I think it's kind of coincidental. I'm not sure I don't want to go conspiratorial. But yo, it is crazy. I didn't even think North with the 3D chess moves right there, man. So, anyways, but I believe every American should be able to have a gun. And also, I believe it's the great equalizer. Women, I'll tell you what. So men are just naturally physically stronger than women. It's true. And I've showed the Wikipedia page previously here. I'll provide all the references when I go update the descriptions, and I'll provide all the medical. That the average male is 30 to 40% stronger in upper body strength than even the most physical of females. Could give the bots morning after pill too. Oh my god. Eat the rich before they eat us. I don't know. I think that we have a problem with the American tax code, but that's a subject for another time. We're staying on the Second Amendment. And these new laws. So I believe that, but the thing is that I believe in constitutional carry. I believe anybody should be able to have a concealed carry weapon. I believe that if you're convicted of a crime once you've done your time and you get out and you complete your parole, your gun rights should be automatically restored. And I know that for foreign people that this is kind of difficult for people to agree with or understand, but it's basically founded off the principle of how our country came to be. And the British tried to ban anyone who wasn't part of the British military from having any type of weapons, like muskets or vice versa. I mean, we had there were automatic weapons. They were less common, but there were automatic weapons even back in the days when the Constitution was written. I think that we need to make sure that background checks, I'm totally for them. I'm all for people getting licenses. What's up, Peach? I didn't see what Peach said. She said anybody what? Yeah, I believe that anybody who is mentally capable and has the mental capacity to possess a firearm should. There are limitations, of course, to anything. Automatic muskets. No, there weren't automatic muskets. That would have been awesome, though. I think that, you know, there are limitations to that. Like, I think if someone's been committed to a hospital, they shouldn't have it. If someone has severe violent schizophrenia, that's clearly a reason not to have a gun. I believe we should fund the ATF because currently, as I showed North, he was surprised when they had this conversation last time I showed North, that currently there is actually a law in place that says if you've been forcibly committed or you have a severe mental disorder that has been diagnosed, that's supposed to be reported to the ATF, and the ATF is supposed to stop you from getting approved on a background check. I mean everyone that is capable of having a firearm, and I think I said capable, but if I didn't, I apologize. I misspoke. So yeah, so there are some exceptions, but I believe that both sides need to stop doing this horrible thing, which is not funding the ATF. And one side, I think, is a little bit more, it's sort of more fucked up because they're purposely not funding the ATF to allow gun crimes to happen so they can try to ban guns. I think that's fucked up. The other side is also not funding the ATF because they were like, we're not going to allow people to enforce and restrict your right to firearms. Both are fucked up, right? Self-justice until Jeff Bezos comes down with drone lasers. My brother-in-law filed for his concealed carry in Florida because he, being a licensed, Florida allows for more states to carry. And unlike Illinois, he got denied because he got arrested for weed. Like minor drug possession stops you and shit like that, right? Like, no, if you've done your time, if you've paid your debt to society and you've shown that you're no longer a threat, that you've become a law-abiding citizen, I don't believe anybody's gun rights should be infringed. Because clearly, look at Uvalde. You cannot depend on the police to protect you. It's that simple. You cannot depend on them to protect you. And I believe everybody has a right to be protected. And I believe women especially, the great equalizer for women against men is a gun. And I'll tell you what. I know a friend right now, a week and a half ago, a man attempted to rape her and she shot him 3 times in the chest. And guess what? She didn't get raped. You know how long it took the police to respond to that call? 12 minutes and 43 seconds. That's a long time. That's a long time. 12 minutes and 43 seconds. It's insanity, man. And you know what? We look at gun control. Gun control clearly doesn't work. The most gun-controlled areas in the nation, we've talked about it. Statistically, you're more likely to be murdered. So, example, one of the most lax gun control areas in America, Dallas, Texas. You are 5 times more likely to be murdered in Washington, D.C. than Dallas, Texas. You are 9 times more likely to be murdered in Baltimore, Maryland than you are to be murdered in Dallas, Texas. You are 6 times more likely to be murdered in Chicago than you are in Dallas, Texas. You know what all 3 of those cities have in common? They're the top 3 cities for violent gun crime. They also are the top 3 cities for gun control. You're 5 times more likely to be murdered in New York too. They're tied there, DC and New York, by the way, for murder per capita. you're 5 times more likely to be murdered by a gun in places that have the highest amount of gun control. Let me read what's going on. An armed population is a strong population, yeah, and it's also a dangerous one. We want to be dangerous. You know how many people in the international community think like America, like you just go and buy a beer and get handed a gun? Like it's literally a fucking cartoon. And of course, if you then look at where you ban guns and you look at other forms of violence with weapons, they're equivalent. So knifing in the UK, for example, of course you're not going to have the same amount of gun violence if you banned guns. It just moves to other weapons. No, you can be dangerous and still be safe. Soldiers are dangerous, but they're safe to be around most of the time. Yeah, and you know, Jay, if they find out about that, you could get in a lot of trouble. Knives are not as deadly? Dude, I'm telling you, like, you look at the places that have imposed the most gun control, and they're the most dangerous places in America. Baltimore, Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. Versus ones that have very little to no gun control and constitutional carry. Meaning, by the way, guys, for those who don't know, constitutional carry is where you can conceal carry without a permit. So they basically say, constitutionally, we believe you have a right to conceal carry. And therefore, you don't need to ask us for permission. So, I don't know how we justify gun control. You know what? In the Uvalde shooter, they could have stopped that. They stopped people who had firearms from stopping that. The person who stopped it was an off-duty officer who borrowed a shotgun from somebody. Yeah. But the wounding of it, John Oliver is an idiot, and I'll dissect him one of these days. I'm putting together an actual like video series to talk about John Oliver, who's on the who's like really far left, and then to talk about people like, I can't remember his name. He was like the advisor to Donald J. Trump, and he's on the far right, and they're both fucking idiots, both of them. Yeah, imagine if he hadn't gotten that shotgun from a barber who lent him a gun to go shoot someone. You don't need to wave a gun about. I don't think it's necessary to wave a gun about. I think that's the reason for concealed carry. I think that having a firearm and stopping someone from doing something atrocious, the number of lives saved from defensive use of firearms far outweighs the number of lives lost. Okay, and we also have 1/3 the amount of school stabbings. I mean, we have a mental health crisis here in America too, so I think that there's some other things we can do to address that. I think that guns aren't the problem. I think that we have problems with our mental health systems, and they need to be greatly improved, because I think a lot of this falls down to us not taking care of citizens once they're born. I think that we fall short on that. Just like I have a specific stance on abortion, I also have a specific stance on, it's what makes me a classical liberal, is that I believe in social programs. Again, 1/3 is what I knew. I'm not sure the specifics, but I know it's less than 1/3 of that. But again, it's all about specifically what are you looking at there, you know? So I get what you're saying though, and I agree. We have a problem. We do have a problem with the amount of shootings. Yeah, if you count in, so they like to manipulate numbers. So they don't count the gang shootings when it doesn't benefit them, but they count the gang shootings when it does. You know, the places that are in America that have the highest amount of gun control also have the highest amount of mass shootings, about 2 a week. Gun control advocates. because they don't want to show. So these cities have been controlled by Democrats for 50 to 60 to 70 years. Yeah, you know what's crazy about bomb threats though? There's never been a bomb threat that was communicated that wasn't like people trying to get out of school. It was people literally just being stupid, and there was never a bomb found. It was just them doing dumb. It seemed like it was just other teenagers doing dumb shit you thought committing a felony was gonna be okay. I remember one guy literally admitted he just wanted out of school, and he literally called in a bomb threat over at the local convenience store, not thinking, hey, at the exact same time, when I didn't block the phone number, there was a video camera watching me, and they found him, and they literally charged him. He was 17. He got charged with a felony, and he went to prison for 2 years. It was crazy. But I mean, people, if they want to commit crimes, if they want to kill people, they're going to do it. Jay with the extreme. Damn, that is fucking insane. I think for a majority of us, the most of the time when we get bomb threats in high school and stuff, it's just people being dumbasses, not actually meaning it, which is not an excuse for complacency, but is what it is, right? So, but I think that the law for the Second Amendment part was the constitutional carry parts was really well founded. It talked about how basically these are just secondary roundabout ways of trying to get around the constitutional rights of individuals, and that those ways are basically backdoors into oppressing rights, and oppressing rights should never be the goal of the states. When it comes to something that is directly written into the Constitution and that is unquestionably written word for word in the Constitution, it's not an inferred right; it's an actual the second constitutional amendment that was made. So, absolutely. Let me go look in Discord chat. Tobias. Let's go. Pull it up. Did you put it in the streaming chat channel? I'm looking for it, homie. Like if you click on okay, cool. I'll wait a second, no problem. But yeah, I think that it's really well founded in law, and it really talks about how certain laws are being used to oppress direct constitutional rights given in the Constitution, and how those can be dangerous, that if something that is directly written in the Constitution can't be protected, but something that is an inferred right that is a far stretch can, where are we sitting as a people, right? And that's my thing. If we want to create constitutional rights, we can, but understand that a constitutional right should not be taken away, and you can't just apply it how you feel like applying it, right? So, that's where I stand with that. All right. Woody woot woot woot. All right, guys, we're winding down. Love all y'all. I'm gonna get off of here, and we will have a super long show Monday, and we're gonna come with a more scripted show. Also, the podcast subjects channel is coming back. The podcast comments channel is coming back. And by the way, you guys can submit suggestions if you dislike anything I do or you have problems. There's a suggestions channel where you can literally go and type /suggestion and make it, and it's entirely anonymous, and people can vote on it. So hearts right back at you, Herman. Thank you. You guys go check out Lucas' stream sometime. Woot woot. But we're getting back to it, boys. I've been facing some personal difficulties between my health and everything else, and oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jay. Damn, dude. You can get up with Google support, and send them your ID and stuff. And as long as it matches the inputs on your email accounts and stuff, they can restore that. It takes a while. They go through like vetting that you actually are who you are. If you need some help with that, contact me. And we'll go from there. Yeah, it's not my water, it's my Mountain Dew. So, yeah. That's what I said, L. That's some fucking insane shit. But yeah, guys, it is insanity. All right. I'm going to hop off of here. I got to go handle some stuff around my kiddo, and I will holler at you guys later. But thank you so much. I don't think there's anything extreme, and they don't they disallow for the way the Quran works. But how do I put this? I don't think it's even close to the same. I don't think that one, it's not a religious text. Two, it's not being used to behead and kill people who believe differently than you. I think that to use the two comparatively is not even close in the purpose or the intent. And one is a foundational document of an entire nation, and the other one is a personal belief and religion. So, um, one is, uh, related to religion, and the other one is what does it mean when you're sectarian, right? It's a sectarian document. Doesn't rely on a religion. So, that's my opinion. This has been the Cardboard Castle. There's a state that is allowing death by fire squad now, but that's up to yeah. No, absolutely. But that's because the drugs they use to inject you with can now have you agonizing for hours in pain. I don't believe in the death penalty, too. We can talk about that. But anyways, I believe that killing any human being without substantial cause, meaning they were going to kill you, or were highly likely to do so, is wrong. But listen, I love all you guys. Good to see you, John Echo. Good to see you, Jay the Giant Peach, L, Luna, North. Thank you so much for joining us, Lizzie. I know this was a difficult conversation. I appreciate all of you. Tobias, my Austrian brother from another mother. I appreciate all of you guys. And thank you so much for joining us. We will be back Monday, 7 sharp. We're going to have a very different show. We're probably going to have a round table with a few people in the new podcast studio that we have created. And we will go from there. But thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you later. Peace! Peace. Oh, and remember, no matter what anyone tells you, you have intrinsic value just by being alive. No matter what you do, what you produce, who you are, or how you fucked up in your life, you have meaning, you have value, and don't let no motherfucker tell you otherwise. Love you all. Bye.